and welcome to yet another amazing episode. It's the new year. It's still the new year after all. We're still in January, right? And I am feeling so amazing and so blessed to be here to talk to you. If you've been following me on my socials, then you will realize that I had taken a break. And boy, let me tell you, it has been amazing. I felt so rejuvenated, very energetic, and I have come up with some great ideas about things that I'll be talking about on my socials, especially on Facebook, whereby I post every single day, and as well as here, where I still interact with most of you. And if you're not following me, please, the links are down below. Follow. And if it's your first time here, by the way, let me introduce myself. I am Jacinta, a toxic relationship coach. I am a wife, I am a mom. And in this channel, we talk mostly about relationships. But this year, I'm going to be giving it just a little twist whereby I feel like we'll be talking more about the positive aspects of relationships. Yeah, I have spoken about toxic relationships a lot. I have done so many videos, I think, for like over an year. And if you need to know anything about toxic relationship, this is the channel for you. Now, we'll be talking about the flip side this year and about the positivities, because I feel like this year is more of a positive vibe year. Yeah, out with the bad, in with the good, out with the old, in with the new year. So welcome, and I'll be talking to you about a topic that I was supposed to talk about it at the beginning or even at the end of 2024, but I said, you know what? So many things. Most of the time, we come up with so many things to talk about or to put on our New Year resolution. So let me just wait for all of you to finish doing your resolutions, and then I'm going to come up with this so that you can add on to your list. And if it is already on your list, please let me know what is there that I'll talk about that is on your list or that you might want to adopt. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me. Remember to subscribe, and like this video, share it with someone that you feel might benefit from this information. So karibu sana, welcome, and let's get right into it. So, what are some of these things that I wanted to talk about, or I wanted us, me included, to include in 2025 that's probably you might have or might not really have done in 2024? Or even if you did them, you still would rather continue doing them. Or maybe you need to let go of them. Well, I'll be telling you about 5 things that you need to let go of in 2025. Yeah, I know we already have our resolutions done. That's why I said I do not know. If you have included it in your resolutions, please comment down below. Let me know if you have included it. If you see something, one of the 5 that you think you might need to adopt, also please let me know. Okay. Number 1. This is really huge because most of the women that I have interacted with in 2024 had a huge problem with this. And even in the masterclass that I did, I talked about this being one of the reasons why you attract a toxic person, a narcissist, an abusive person, whatever it is that you have been attracting. And that is being able to say no to people, or simply not saying yes, even when you do not want to. This is huge. Why? Because, and I remember it was a light bulb moment for me back in 2024 when a friend of mine told me that I need to be able to learn to say no and not explain. Let me give this scenario, which most of us I know are guilty of. And if you know you're guilty of this, please comment down below. Let me know. Are you guilty of this? Whenever somebody asks you to do something and they're like, hey, maybe they might even text you or call you, hey, Jacinta, do you think you're going to be able to escort me to a certain place, a funeral, a wedding, whatever? If you know you're going to say yes, you're like, oh, yes. And you end it there. But when you need to say no, why do you always feel the need to over explain it and you feel so guilty about it? Or at least I have felt guilty about it. I don't know about you. Like, if you cannot be able to make it, you will say, no, I have to go here and here and here. Or no, even if it's money and you know you do not have it, you'll be like, oh, no, I have already paid this and this and this and this. Even though you did not have anything to pay, but you simply just do not want to give the money. Maybe in the past you have given them the money and they've not returned it or something. So in 2024, let's normalize saying no, and let's normalize not saying yes to things that are going to oppress us. I have learned that if I'm simply not going to say yes and give it my all, then it is not worth it. And I still hope to continue this in 2025. Like, what do I mean by saying yes and not giving my all? When you say yes, but it's half-hearted, or like it feels like you're coerced, later on you end up feeling so bad to yourself, or you might even end up telling your partner or your friend like, oh, so and so asked me to be able to take them a certain place, or they asked me for money. I'm just going to give it to them, but I do not really feel so good about it. Why are they always borrowing me money? What, all these things. That is you saying yes, even though you're really not happy about it. You're not doing it you're just not doing it wholeheartedly. So 2025, no more saying yes just for the sake of saying it. Let's normalize saying no, and let's normalize not feeling guilty about it. Yeah, let me know, did you have this in your resolutions? Sometimes resolutions don't really have to be the big things like I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to get married, even though I know that I did that on my vision board. But there's still some of these little things, and this is not just about it being because it's a new year. It's also because it's a way of life. Believe you me, it cuts so much so much, well, I don't want to say a bad word, but let's say it cuts you just so much trouble, yeah, and so much negative feelings. And you've said 2025 is a year of positivity and good vibes. So what other good way than to start saying yes when you really mean it, and no when you know that you don't really mean it, yeah, or when you just don't want to do it, huh? Another thing that you need to embrace in 2025 is comparison. Comparison, comparing yourself with your friends or with somebody on social media, or just looking, and especially social media. Oh, wait, it has, when I took a break, I realized that it was so good for my mental well being. It was so good for even my relationships with my friends. I was able to sit down and really talk to them, with my kids, with my husband. I had a wonderful time. And social media is a place where you see people younger than you. Like for me, being born in the 90s, and then you're seeing someone who was born in the 2000s, they have things that you do not have. You're like, when did these young babies grow up and attain all these things? Yeah. Sometimes you look, or because we have set it in our mind that for our friends or maybe people on social media, why is it happening to them and not to me? Yeah. So this was huge for me. I remember, I think it was back in 2022 as well, where I got to understand that, you know what? And I keep telling most of my friends this: we are where you're exactly supposed to be. If you are, let's say, jobless for that period, it is not usually the same. It does not mean that the whole year you're going to be jobless. And even if you are, it does not mean that in the next year you're going to be. It does not mean that because this year I was not able to buy a car, but next year I cannot buy a car. If maybe last year you had a car and then you lost it this year, it does not mean that you'll forever be carless. Simply because people are enjoying things on social media, maybe they are married, maybe they are having kids, they're going through their own struggles. And that's the thing, that's the craziest thing about this life that I came to realize. Nobody should ever come and tell me I have it all, because we don't. We don't. You might have the money, but your family might be in chaos. I might have a perfect family, but maybe financially I'm not doing okay. You might have the money and wonderful kids, but maybe you have a terminal illness. You might. There's so many scenarios, but I usually tend to think that it's God's way of making sure that we all remain humble, because no one will ever have everything. And this realization made me realize that, you know what? Maybe I'm not so bad after all. Maybe what I have is exactly what I need for now. And believe you me, you'll always have enough for with the phase at which you're at. So remember that it doesn't last forever. If you came from 2024 heading into 2025 very hopeful that things are going to be different, that 2024 was a bit crazy for you, 2025 is a new chance. You do not have to be like everyone, and you will never be like everyone. Sometimes you go through similar situations, but it does not mean that they're the same. I keep saying that I went through a toxic relationship. I know I have a huge community of women who are going through the same thing, but let me tell you something. They're not all the same. Some bounce back, some get into relationships like I did, some swear off relationships, some are still hoping to get into a relationship, but they're not there yet. Some of you are going to get your person this year. Some of you are going to get married this year. Maybe you already got your person. So many things can happen within an year. So quit comparing yourself with someone, and believe you me, it's always pays in the end to remain your authentic self, to believe in yourself, because your potential and who you are as a person, you can do things that I will never be able to do. You are someone that many people admire, even if they don't tell you. Like, I usually hear this story of this man who didn't have a leg, and he's looking at someone who is walking and thinking, this man, he's living the life. And then this man who is walking sees a man with a car passing, and he's like, this man is the one who is living the life. And then this man in the car is looking up the clouds at someone who is in an airplane. And he's thinking, you know what? The people in that airplane, they're the ones who have made it. And then the person in the airplane is looking at the person in a private jet who doesn't have to be in a plane with I don't know how many people, doesn't have to sit for hours in uncomfortable seats, doesn't have to line up to get into this big plane, and is thinking that person in a private jet is the one who's living the life. Well, the list goes on and on, because even that person, we're sure they also have their own fair share of problems. They always look up to somebody else. So choose your struggle, and your struggle is how can you become better as who you are. Yeah, that is exactly it. Number 3 thing to do in 2023, I don't know if you're already doing it, if you've already started doing it, if you are doing it in 2024, something that is worth carrying to 2025 is investing in yourself. Invest in yourself. And what do I mean? When you're thinking like, I do not have a job, I don't have money. Well, investing in yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you need to pour in the money on you. Yes, that is still an investment on you. I personally had to invest a lot in myself. I had to hire coaches, mentors. I attended webinars, master classes, some of which were paid, some of which were free. When you invest in yourself, you might invest money, energy, time, whatever way you invest in yourself. Just try and become better from the person that you were last year. You might decide to invest in yourself physically. Maybe you have wanted to get a microblading or just buy some nice clothes. You might decide to even join the gym. You might decide to read a book. You might decide, you know what, I have so many unpacked or so many unresolved issues. Let me get a coach to help me, or let me get into therapy. You might decide, you know what, this year I intend on getting into more master classes. And speaking of master classes, I have one in February that you do not want to miss. Like I said, I was away and I was planning some things, which naturally came to me. And the February 2025 Valentine's class. This is going to be a compilation of the biggest things that you've been asking me. I will not tell you the title, but I will let you know as soon as it is out there. Yeah. So anyway, invest in yourself. Get to learn something that you didn't know last year. It can be a new language. It can be just a skill. It can be just something new. You always learn something new. Personally, I go to master classes or to webinars and I always learn something new that I did not know. It can even be from somebody who is in my field. And most of the time, I do know most of what they're going to say, but there's always something new that I learn. Yeah, just a new takeaway. So invest in yourself. You are the only person who will thank yourself for investing in you. What do I mean by this? Buy your kid a pair of shoes. Even buy them a ball. Next year, time like this, they might be, let's say, like my son was turning 9 this year. Next year, he'll be turning 10. The sport that I'm thinking he enjoys this year might be very different. Like last year, he was into soccer or football, like we call it in Kenya. But then when he came here, he dropped soccer and he's into American football. So the balls that he got for soccer, he's not even playing with them. Even gift your friends. I'm not saying that you'll have a fallout, but you might have a fallout. And maybe you bought them something very expensive. So imagine you are the only person that will always thank yourself for investing in you. And this I usually tell most of the women who come to work with me as well. We kind of sometimes feel guilty or the pain of removing money to invest in ourselves. And when I say money, I even mean time, like taking even your alone time. It can be even as simple as taking a bath or just taking time out even from your kids, and you feel so guilty for it. But if you're investing in these kids or even in our partners, even with our friends, we do not feel guilty for it, even though they honestly don't appreciate it the way you would appreciate or your future self will appreciate. So this year, let's be intentional about investing in ourselves. And that also applies to me. It applies to me. The fourth one, take breaks. Take breaks. After the break that I took, and it was almost a week, and how good I felt, hey, I told myself, you know what? My business majorly are on online businesses. So it sometimes just becomes like a way of life. But if you do not take a break, or if you're like me, or even whatever sort of business, let's just say, because nowadays remote jobs have become a norm. But even in jobs, you're always working. Weekends, especially as women, that's when we remember we need to clean. We have kids to run after. We have partners waiting for us. Sunday is like, it's such a short day. Church, we are home. We don't even rest. Most of the time, you'll find that you're working on burnout. You're snappy, you lose ideas. But when you take a break, you rejuvenate. I always say you cannot pour from an empty cup. You don't want to be snappy, you don't want to be grumpy, like you're doing things, but at the end of it all, you're so tired, you're so irritant. People don't even want to be around you. Take that break. It's not just for you, but also for the people around you. I'm telling you, you'll come back glowing, bubbly, like, let's get back to work. Like, I had missed social media so much, but my friends and my best friend especially convinced me, you know what, that's how guilty I was. Just sitting there and wondering, okay, what's not happening? How is everything doing? What? They made me take a longer break than I had intended, and believe you me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I told myself, I'll be taking at least 4 breaks every year. 4 breaks, 1 week each. It means 1 month. It's like I'm taking a vacation for me. So let's normalize taking breaks. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter whether you need a break from your children, because that is still another break by the end. Never feel guilty for it. I remember for me back in Kenya, because there you can afford to have a nanny and all that. I used to set aside, especially Saturday or Friday. It used to be my day. I would go at least once a month or even twice a month. Just go have a nice meal alone, go for a drive alone, just be me, because every other weekend I will be pouring into the kids. I will be with them. And before, believe you me, I felt like it was selfishness. Until later on, you come to realize, hey, you know what? When you come back, you're so fresh. You're so happy. The kids and everyone else loves being around you. So I normalize taking the breaks. And even right now, it took me a moment because so much has happened. My life has literally turned upside down. But taking the break, it's reminded me of the benefits of the break. Yeah, so try it if you've never done it. And if it's you're intending to do it, let me know how that one goes. I would love, love, love to know. And also, we can also help other people to realize that it is normal, it is okay, because sometimes it doesn't feel normal to just sit around and do nothing. Yeah, so tell me how it goes.